Welcome to day 99. We've got the sixth and seventh chapters of First Samuel, Psalm 72, and Second Corinthians chapter 9. So we are continuing in this situation for during Samuel's time where the Philistines have a lot of power. They have been a pain and a bother for the Israelites. Now, the Philistines have the Ark of the Covenant, the chest of the covenant, depending on your translation, and they've been holding on to it, but it's been really bad for them. So they try to come up with a way to send it back to the Israelites. None of them want to have anything to do with the chest because it's bringing plagues and terrible situations to their communities. So they come up with this goofy thing. We're going to put it on a cart. We're going to have a couple cows that just gave birth, but we're going to hide their cows and their calves, and we're going to see where the cows go. If the cows pull the cart back to the Israelites, then we know this is all God's doing and we've given it away and we're in the clear. If it comes back, then we know we've got to do something else. So, they end up deciding they also need to pay God to take the ark back. And so they add some gold offerings, figurines that they've put with the chest as they get it sent back. They send it off. It does go straight to the Israelites. The Philistines are happy. It's out of their hair. They're off the hook. The Israelites are happy because they've got the ark back. They immediately set up an altar and burn the wood of the cart and offer the cows as an offering to God, and they're happy. But all along, the Ark of the Covenant, the chest of the covenant, has been a holy um, piece that has been where God resides among his people. In Moses' time, it was considered the seat of God, that God would sit on top of the ark, and that was where God's presence was in the community. So only the high priest was allowed to go into the Holy of Holies place, a special tent area where the ark was, in order to communicate with God and worship God. My guess is by this point, a lot of the Israelites have forgotten some of the traditions and the understanding of the ark in their lives. And so some of them touch the ark, some of them peek inside. And we can laugh from Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark of what happened to the Nazis when they looked in there. But frankly, the same thing happened. And there were a number of Israelites who were killed because they were not showing the proper reverence and deference to God's place in the community on the Ark of the Covenant. So there were some people who died from not showing proper care for the ark. So the people in the village that initially got the ark are like, we don't want to hold on to this because there's a lot of power with this, and they get another village to take it over. Now, time passes, and once again, we have this situation where Israelites have turned to the gods of their neighbors and they are worshiping other gods, other idols. They are engaging in these spiritual practices of other religions. And so Samuel emerges as a leader. And he's like, it's time to get focused back on God. Samuel's been faithful this whole time. And he gets everyone to stop worshiping the other gods again. There is a cycle here of Israel coming back to God, and things are fine for a while, and then they get distracted, and people come in and oppress them, and the prophet has to come and bring them back to the way, clear out the distractions from their life, and reconnect them to God. And so Samuel does all of this again, and it pays off. The Philistines are put in their place. They have less power over the Israelites. Israel is stronger. And so, as we're going through this, and we go through this over and over and over again as we go through the Hebrew Bible, what is distracting us? There are distractions that are constantly luring the Israelites away, but what distracts us? Do we spend a lot of time watching sports teams? Are we trying to build up our retirement funds? Are we trying to have a more comfortable home? Are we focused completely on our family? What are the things in our lives that distract us and keep us from staying reverent to God, worshiping God, showing our gratitude to God, doing the work that Jesus asked us to do of showing love to our neighbors and caring for the people who are poor and oppressed? As we read Psalm 72, it's a beautiful psalm that is worshiping God. We see God as a faithful and just leader and how God cares for the poor and those who are oppressed. And I think building on what we saw in Samuel, are we spending time working with God to deal with poverty, oppression, injustice in our world today? Do they bother us, or are we just kind of trying to ignore it and go along our own way as long as we're comfortable and our lives are fine, whatever? And I think the psalm reminds us that this is the work that is important to God of caring for all of his creation, especially for the people who are struggling. And I think God is wanting us to step into that as well, which is what Paul talks about in the writing in Second Corinthians chapter 9. He is still trying to encourage the church in Corinth to get on board with this huge, massive relief effort. There's been this big fundraising drive across a number of churches to raise the funds through offerings in order to help some people who are struggling. And he's really encouraging them to make up their mind on what to give. And he says something that is a familiar verse for many people, that God appreciates a cheerful giver, that we are not to be giving money out of duty or obligation, but because we want to. And Paul really emphasizes that our gifts, our offerings, are our way of showing our gratitude to God for the generosity that God has given towards us. And so our generous giving is a sign to the world, to the people around us, of who is primary in our life. Are we focused on God? Are we focused on working with God to bring justice and comfort and mercy to the people around us? And what we are willing to give in terms of financial resources as well as time resources says a lot about where our focus is and whether we're being distracted and putting our money into other things in our lives. So, to a certain extent, there is some tying together of these different readings today, even though they're from very different sections of the Bible. I think all of it is about staying focused on God and making sure we always have space for God in our lives, and that we are letting God's guidance and wisdom encourage us in the decisions that we have to make on a daily basis. So I encourage you to look at your own life and reflect on the ways that you can be giving of your time and your resources to bring more justice into the world, more mercy into the world. And I encourage all of us to take some time in prayer and reflection to see what we can do to work with God today. We'll see you next time.